All right, let's talk about something we've probably all felt, that annoying, sometimes really painful pressure that builds up in your ears on a flight. Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what's causing it and, way more importantly, how to make sure it never bothers you again. Let's dive in.
Yeah, that feeling, we've all been there. The plane is taking off or getting ready to land, and boom, your ears feel totally stuffed, everything sounds muffled, or they just plain hurt. It happens all the time, but have you ever really stopped to think about what's actually going on inside your head? Believe it or not, that feeling has a pretty intense sounding name, ear barotrauma. Sounds dramatic, right? But don't worry, it's just a fancy way of saying your eardrum is getting stressed out because the air pressure is changing. It's basically a tug of war between the air inside the cabin and the air trapped inside your ear.
So what does this pressure battle actually feel like? I bet some of these are going to sound pretty familiar.
It might just be a little discomfort, or it could be some actual pain. Then there's that classic stuffed up feeling, like your head's full of cotton. Your hearing gets all muffled, like someone's turned down the volume on the world. Some people even get a little dizzy from it. If you're sitting there nodding along, then yep, you've definitely had airplane ear.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is the science behind this whole sensation? What's really going on in there? Well, it all comes down to an invisible battle of forces happening right behind your eardrum.
At its heart, it's actually super simple. Just picture your eardrum. On one side, you've got the air pressure of the airplane cabin pushing on it. On the other side, you've got the air that's trapped inside your middle ear pushing back. When those two forces aren't equal, your eardrum feels the squeeze. So how does your body fight this battle? Well, meet the unsung hero of our story, the eustachian tube. This tiny little channel is your body's own natural pressure release valve. Its entire job is to open up, let air move in or out, and keep things perfectly balanced. Now, this is where it gets interesting because it's different for takeoff and landing. As the plane climbs, the air pressure in the cabin gets lower, but the air inside your ear, that's still at that higher ground level pressure, so it pushes your eardrum outward. That's where that full feeling comes from. Then, during descent, the exact opposite happens. The cabin pressure goes up and it pushes your eardrum inward, and for a lot of us, that's the part that can really hurt. And that famous pop, you know the one I'm talking about? Well, that is the sound of victory. It's the moment your eustachian tube finally does its job, opens up, lets the air rush through, and bam, the pressure is equalized. It's not magic, it's just your body's brilliant internal plumbing hard at work. Okay, enough science. Let's get to the good stuff, the solutions. Here is your personal in-flight toolkit to make sure your next flight is totally pain-free. Let's start with the easiest things you can do. Yawning, swallowing, chewing gum, sucking on candy. These aren't just distractions. They are actively helping. Every time you do one of these things, you're flexing the muscles that literally pull your eustachian tubes open, which leads to a crucial point. You have to stay awake during ascent and descent so you can actually do this stuff. Now, what if swallowing and chewing just aren't cutting it, especially on the way down? You can try this little trick. It's called the Valsalva maneuver. You just pinch your nostrils closed, keep your mouth shut, and then gently try to blow out through your nose. You should feel a little pop as you manually equalize the pressure. And I have to say it again, the key word here is gently. Don't overdo it. You can also bring a few helpful tools on board. There are special filtered earplugs that are made to slow down how fast the pressure changes, giving your eardrum more time to adjust. Also, if you're feeling even a little congested, a decongestant can be an absolute game changer. It helps shrink the swollen tissues around your eustachian tubes, making it way easier for them to open up. But, and this is extremely important, before you just grab a decongestant, you have to be careful. If you have any conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, or if you're pregnant, you absolutely must talk to your doctor first. Safety first, always. Okay, so what if you're flying with kids, especially little ones who can't just tell you that their ears are bugging them? Let's talk about them, and let's also cover the red flags for when any of us should probably see a doctor. For infants and toddlers, the name of the game is getting them to swallow. So a bottle, a drink, or even just a pacifier during takeoff and landing can work wonders. Just make sure they're sitting up while they're drinking. For kids who are a bit older, you can try gum, or even make a game out of blowing bubbles through a straw. And a really critical note, decongestants are generally not recommended for young children. Now, airplane ear is usually just a temporary annoyance, but there are times when the symptoms stick around or get more severe. So when is it time to stop dealing with it yourself and call a professional? Okay, here are the red flags.
If you've landed and the pain is severe and just not getting any better, or you're dealing with major hearing loss, a constant ringing in your ears, a spinning sensation like vertigo, or in rare cases, any bleeding from your ear, these are your signs. Don't just wait it out. See a doctor.
We have covered a lot of ground here, so let's put it all together into one simple checklist you can use to get ready for your next trip and, fly smarter.
All right, here's your game plan. Before you fly, try to avoid it if you're sick. Flying with a cold or sinus infection just makes it so much harder for your ears to equalize. During ascent and descent, the most important thing is to stay awake. Yawn, swallow, chew some gum. If you feel that pressure building on the way down, use that gentle Valsalva maneuver. And for the kids, a bottle or a drink is their best friend. It's really that simple.
So there you have it. With this knowledge and this toolkit, that uncomfortable pressure doesn't have to be an unavoidable part of flying anymore. You know the science, you know the symptoms, and now you have the solutions. So the only question left is, are you ready to conquer the cabin pressure on your next trip?